Hi! There it is. Wait. Oh, I've got to turn the theme song off. 3, 2, 1, and go. Hey! Welcome to the show, everybody. Hi from a hotel room in beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan, where this baby was made with a cobalt steel barrel and a walnut stock. Shop smart, shop S-smart. It's nice to be here. Show last night was a lot of fun. It was great to see some sparklers there. I was shocked. I'm still shocked by the reach of the show. Every time somebody comes up to me and they're like, I watch the live stream, I watch it. I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad I'm not screaming into the void. But in the meantime, that will never get tired. I just would like to say to anyone who's concerned about coming up to me and going, hey, I watched the live stream and I like that'll never get tired. That's a good feeling. I'm glad, especially considering how many people come up and say it smiling, because I've managed to de-stress some of their more anxiety-ridden moments over the last couple of years, as I will always seek to do. And it's, there's obviously a lot of imbalance in the world. Some what I would call genuinely stressful things that kind of, in a normal era, would give you a sense of perspective about everything else. That literally the thermobaric bombs going off in another country, that simply it has, according to as our dear friend Jimmy Dore and his clan will say, brought it on themselves. Apparently Ukraine on a political level was wearing a short skirt in the wrong neighborhood. And that you gotta, come on. If you're Russia, of course you're going to invade. Why wouldn't you? Because you can't have NATO knocking on your door. You have to knock on their door. See when NATO asks 10 years ago if Ukraine wants to join, but first offers EU membership, and now they have it, essentially. When they offer that, then that triggers a whole series of Russia sending neo-Nazis and people in there and infiltrators and sock puppets to destroy the government from within, so that EU will turn them down because it's too corrupt. And then, oh, thanks. Look at that. Somebody becoming a member. I've got to turn the sound down because apparently there's no way to change the volume in the sound effects on this software, but sound effect to sound effect. So the theme can be a nice volume, and then if I leave it up, everything else is loud. So the short order of it is, if NATO invites, or the EU invites Ukraine to become a part of the EU as a trade partner and other stuff, that is a wink and a nod towards eventual NATO membership, and therefore Russia has every right to start strafe bombing sections of their country. However, if Russia decides that it's going to salami slice its way across Ukraine and take it over time, that's just a defensive measure for land that used to be theirs. You understand? It used to be theirs, so they're just taking it back. Sort of like somebody stalking their ex and murdering them when they see they're dating someone else. It's a totally justifiable, isn't it? Isn't it, in the world of the Russell Brands and the Jimmy Dores? I guess I'm just continually shocked at their justification for this BS. Imagine, if you will, that this was, instead of a split between Ukrainians in, say, Crimea, people who were, Ukrainians and viewed themselves Ukrainians, and people who were Russian separatists who viewed themselves as part of Russia and wanted to go back. And this was happening in the 1800s or so. And during a time when the what would eventually become the Soviet Union, they eventually decided in the 20th century to broom all the Turkish Tartars out of Crimea and make it genetically Russian. So they, please go back to Turkey, run off, or you'll be killed. This is also in line with what was going on with the Holodomor, the Ukrainian genocide that the Soviets put forward, killing 3 million Ukrainians because they had to produce food for the USSR and eat none of it. Good times. So Crimea used to be, like a racially mixed area. And then the Russians came in and said, no, shoo. And the defense on insofar as I can see from Aaron Mate and Jimmy Dore and that crowd is that, well, Crimea is full of Russians who view themselves as Russian. Now, imagine if this was them talking about the original 13 colonies in the United States and the Native Americans that were broomed out, and that there are just some people in the colonies that would rather be with England. They'd rather be part of the monarchy. I mean, they speak the same language. Some of them still have the accent, right? So, I mean, the childish goofiness of all this stuff is hysterical and plenty to talk about. One of the things I did want to address, that because I wasn't familiar with some of the stuff as it comes in hot and heavy, the Gish Gallop on the Jimmy Dore video that we did was, hysterical. When he showed that chart of, and I wish I could pull it up right here, but you can watch the video if you want, where he brought up that, like, how Ukrainians feel about stuff. And one of the things was 71% reject the idea that they are one people, meaning the Ukrainians and the Russians are one people. And Jimmy presented this as an idea that it was the Ukrainians that were pressing this idea, and that the majority of the Ukrainian people rejected it, when indeed this is something that Putin has used as a justification for his eventual taking over of the entire fucking country. He's the one saying they are one people, except for the neo-Nazis, which apparently are so interwoven into Ukrainian society and government that you just got to straight bomb the whole fucking thing. You know what I mean? You can tell anybody who isn't a neo-Nazi has left. Anybody who stays to fight for Ukraine is clearly a neo-Nazi. And by the way, everyone in the world is now pro-neo-Nazi. All of NATO is a neo-Nazi organization. This is where the logic flows. The American people, anybody putting a sunflower in their Twitter feed is now pro-neo-Nazi, according to Jimmy Dore, Aaron Mate, Russell Brand, Glenn Greenwald, and Tucker Carlson and their ilk. It's friggin' amazing. So anyways, that 71% or so that he said were against the one people concept, were rejecting Russia, and specifically Vladimir Putin's presentation of the idea that they were all one people, and that absorbing them was just a natural thing, that they should just lay back and take it. The lack of consent in relationships parallels that go along with their justification for this stuff is frigging amazing. And the idea is, like, you could have seen the biggest one right now in the people justifying Russia's position in this situation seems to be, Noam Chomsky told you this was going to happen. Henry Kissinger said this was going to happen. Pat Buchanan said this was going to happen. Yeah, but not because it would be ultimately Ukraine's fault for wanting protection through NATO or wanting to be a partner with the EU, but just that Russia wouldn't allow it. And ethically, morally, intellectually, philosophically, I don't get how we're just supposed to let Russia dictate the freedom of other countries to its comfort. And again, Ukraine, a free country, joining NATO or joining the EU is an affront to and a security threat to Russia. But Russia taking over Ukraine is not an affront to and a security threat to the EU and NATO. It's not them moving their border closer to NATO, because Ukraine is really theirs, guys. It's already theirs. They can do with it what they want. They can kill whomever they want. They can wipe out the population, start from scratch. It's theirs. Really, it's their territory. The neo-colonialist insanity of that concept, considering who is spitting it out, is, I don't get where there's not just some sort of fritzing wire going on in their head. We're just like, zzz, and pass out. How are your ethical wires that frigging crossed, right? Anyways, hi chat. Welcome to HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Rant's over. Let's go immediately because I don't have a lot of time today. To apparently, there's a concern. There's a concern that Joe Biden may have pulled an M&M at the end of 8 Mile. that he may have taken all the criticisms of him and in So2 rap, just cut all the fuses and all the blue wires and all the bombs that were around and like dropped the mic and walked away. And the biggest concern is, of course, Don Jr. Oh, there you guys are. Oh, hold on. I don't know why this is off kilter. Beg your pardon. Let me slide this over. Beg your pardon. And then bink, 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 bink. Doop. There we go. Guys, I'm always dreaming of having the world's tiniest joint. Guys, I'm baked to the fucking bejesus belt. Up on the shelf behind me, flag, some sort of weird male G-spot touching dildo in amongst the family pictures. I don't know what the fuck that is. Does anybody know? Is that supposed to be a bottle or something? It looks like it's like I had an X-ray done of my my perineum, and then I had someone cast it in glass. Guys, this is the kind of artwork, and it tickles just the right spot. All you have to sorry. And you can smoke through it. What is that? What's this? Maybe the video clears up at some point and we can tell. I haven't seen anything that disturbing on a shelf since Rudy Giuliani's glory hole. It's a bong, you think? It's a glass bong cast out of an X-ray of his vas deferens. All right, it's a penis bong. Simmer. All right, so guys, and there's going to be an ad at the top of this, no doubt.
If you're trying to lose belly fat, stop doing cardio.
Stop it.
Okay, guys.
Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Okay. 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 I'm okay. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay.
Interesting about last night was how many times it seems like Joe Biden wanted to actually adopt my father's policies, right?
It's almost like he took Infrastructure Week, which was a policy of my dad's. Nothing fucking ever happened. And then he made it happen, and suddenly he's like, wants to claim it. You know what I mean? And like, it's not like a literal comprehensive immigration bill has been sitting around for years that Joe Biden helped craft while he was still in the fucking Senate, and now they're going to pass it later this year. And, these were all, you don't understand. Joe Biden is taking all the things that my dad sold and never did and actually doing them, and now he wants us to buy that? Come on.
He talked about securing a border all of a sudden, magically, after probably millions of people, okay? A humanitarian crisis that we haven't seen in recent times.
Asshole, literally 1 million people just crossed the border in Ukraine on their way out of the country. There's still 42 million people approximately in Ukraine staying to fight. We haven't seen anything like the southern border since, decades before the wall was built. Apparently you build a wall like this and the whole world wants to come see it. Maybe that's what it was. It's too big of a tourist draw. The caravans are coming up just to get a look at it. It's the new immigrant Olympics. It's the Machu Picchu of borders. Everybody wants to see if they can cross it, and I blame the wall.
On our border, in our country, that Democrats created with open border policies, right?
No, we don't have open border policies. You're the only one saying open border. Fox is saying open border. Nobody else is saying open border. Simmer down.
Oh, they want to get a hold of that. Because, again, they're looking at polling. They're seeing what...
You do realize that Obama caught shit from his own base because of the amount of people that he kicked out of the country during his presidency. That they had a much more effective immigration policy than Trump did. Just saying.
Americans are...
By the way, all the while trying to get DACA through Congress, which, of course, the Republicans fought back against, and now Biden's trying to get it codified again.
The other one that was crazy was Joe Biden now talking, we want to fund the police.
Yeah, it's almost like the Cory Booker moment never happened. It's almost as if Biden never ran on defund the police, recognized it was a losing proposition, and actually wanted strategic funding for the police, training and accountability. Like, it's weird how you can actually do both if you're actually a chief executive that gives a fuck. It's strange, I know.
So the leader of the party that spent 2 years vilifying police.
Never happened.
Going after them,
and by them I mean Kyle Rittenhouse, and by Kyle Rittenhouse I mean not really.
wanting to defund the police. The leader of that party, the Democrat.
The leader of the party that won the primary and the presidency and kicked your dad's ass and didn't run on defund the police.
Party now wants to
do what he said he was going to do.
fund the police.
It's almost like he was part of the administration that created the COPS program that targeted training and also gave cops and police departments across the world, across the country, the ability to broom out bad cops that Trump scuttled.
Could it be because we're seeing all-time high crime rates, all-time high violent crime?
Well, not all-time high. Obviously, the 90s were worse, and then Biden helped craft the crime bill, which was supported by the Congressional Black Caucus and all the black mayors in the country. It's almost as if he's doing the job he's always wanted to do.
Murder rates going through the roof.
Through the roof. Statistically, no, but okay.
Absolute insanity.
Whoops. Okay. Okay, why is it all of a sudden gravelly?
Party who wanted to...
Okay, hold on. Garbage. Don't know why, it just sounds like crap. What's happening? Maybe it's loopback audio being a jerk. Let's see. It's a very strange... Let's see. Maybe I do this. Let me try something. Adding this. Adding... just want this guy. See if this helps. 1 second. Let me go down here. Sorry, it's going to sound funky for a split second. And then we'll go back. This guy, check. And then maybe this will be better. We'll see. Hold on.
Defund the police who want to vilify our men and women.
That's better. Right? That sounds better. Hold on. Guys, girls.
In blue. Now they want to do...
By the way, your dad's followers beat cops on the Capitol steps. Your dad's followers beat cops on the Capitol steps. Your dad's followers beat cops on the Capitol steps. And now you want them to be let out on bail or without bond in any form and just, I guess, released because they're political prisoners. You can, if you're a Republican and you beat a cop, you're a political prisoner.
Something different.
By the way, according to him and Vladimir Putin.
Now they want to fund the police. And
they always did.
Joe Biden can say that with a straight face at the State of the Union.
Yeah, because of the bills passed. Because of what was in the American Rescue Package and what was in the budget. And yeah, because of the COPS program that they started under Obama that he would like to reinstate. Sorry, he doesn't read.
Well, here's 7 minutes put together, I believe, by the RNC of Democrats over the last few years.
Yes, people who backed Bernie Sanders, and in some cases Elizabeth Warren.
They want to defund the police. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Someone sent me this. I didn't watch it. It's not in the video. It doesn't make my point. But keep reading.
So we've been talking about defunding the police.
There's some issues that we ask police to do, like mental health issues or policing in schools and all the rest, that perhaps we can shuffle some of that money around.
Suck it. Right. By the way, that's not defunding the police. That's paying, using taxpayer dollars to pay for stuff the cops don't have to do.
Defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
Not only...
Yes, That's not selective editing or anything.
Do we need to?
By the way, this is 7 minutes, but the video itself that we're watching is only 3 minutes long. So I'm guessing not only is this selectively edited, but he's selectively editing it. Also, Biden.
Invest in police, but we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
So yes, defund your butts. Defund you.
Yes, I support the reallocation of resources from NYPD.
We will be moving funding from the NYPD to youth initiatives.
I like the background music though. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
And social services.
Oh, what's happening? Quit it. Why is the audio being weird like that?
Resources to that department. And
Okay, you guys, all right. You guys hear that? I just don't hear it. Weird. Are my headphones gone now? What happened? Hold on. Beg your pardon. Audio issue. 1 second. Is the thing? Okay. There they are. Excellent. Okay. In theory, should be able to hear now.
I support the defund movement. I'm for responsible reallocation of resources.
It's amazing.
guys, it's totally amazing that the guy that won is the guy that didn't actually do that.
They are literally Democrats and the media out there trying to say they never argued for any of that. They would never do that. Now, because they're realizing it's coming to bite them back in the butts. So watch it. It's long, but you'll get the idea.
You'll get the idea that these are largely people other than Kamala Harris, who's a lot more diplomatic about the entire thing, who totally didn't support Joe Biden in the primaries, ran against him, blah, blah, blah. All right.
If you don't want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, 7 minutes is a long time, guys. You'd have to blaze a heavy rail.
Because it's absolute idiocy. Don't let them lie for you. Don't let the media sell you.
Yes, don't let them lie for you. Do your own lying, says Don Jr. That's right. You can do it, America. You can do it. You can lie. Don't let the media lie on your behalf. Just lie like I do on Rumble. Just make little short live videos for Coke money. It's easy.
False and alternate narrative. Watch the 7 minutes and see for yourself funding the police. Okay.
Well, okay.
And by the way, this is a really short video for him. But he literally doesn't get through the word okay before he starts looking at his notes. I just don't understand. Get on a roll. It's a 3-minute video. You cut away in the middle of it to another video, meaning you could have done multiple takes. This is not a fucking live stream. Sometimes I find myself going, am I on? Is it working? Because I have to check like 3 screens to make sure that my shit is actually running. That's not what this is. This is a guy talking into his phone, and that's his only work for the day. I can't stress that enough. Ladies and gentlemen, this 3-minute video on Rumble is Don Jr.'s only work for the whole day. That's it. I mean, wrap your head around that idea as workflows go, and then look at how much he phones this crap in. Not only is he working 3 minutes a day, 5 minutes maybe, sitting down, like give him time for like whatever. Let's say he blazes 2 rails on the clock and rips 5 bong hits. Then does it. And that's still considered part of the job. Dude is working 8 minutes a day doing this garbage. And he can't even fix, like he can't even be professional enough to just start the video off by being personal.
Okay, guys. Guys, you have to see this. This is amazing, and everything about it is, I just felt inspired to, guys, make this guys video. Guys, I just had to. You know what I mean? Like, I was doing all kinds of business things, and then I saw this, guys, I saw I saw this and I had to do a video, guys. The laziness is amazing. But guys, don't let them lie for you. Make your own lies. Don't let it happen. My favorite is when he bails out with "don't let it happen" about life that is happening that he has no control over. And this is like, guys, I'm not going to do anything but go out onto the street, get in a truck, drive to DC, clog up the works, wear a diaper, shit your pants so you never have to get out of the truck, get arrested. I'll be here in Mar-a-Lago eating at the buffet every day free of charge because I have a laminate that says "son" on it. Thanks, Anthony. I don't know if that's a good thing. He says my impression of Don Jr. is getting better and better. I do need kind of like a row of like clip-in teeth or something, like the big flat.
Guys.
Okay, guys. Ooh. I'm the only guy who smokes, and it doesn't make me more peaceful and likable. Who smokes that much weed and becomes a bigger prick? I thought the promise of weed was that it would just relax everybody, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Want to stop war? Don't drop bombs. Drop big bags of weed, right? That'll even everybody out. I think Don Jr. is the outlier in that situation. Maybe it's just laced with PCP. Maybe it's his buyer or something. I don't know. I'm just saying it belies the myth. I'm not impressed. Guys. All right, so that was amazingly short and cheap and stupid. You're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. I appreciate it. I thank you for being here. It's a good time. I'm zipping through some stuff today. The next one up is a little longer. Where is it? There it is. And I think this got an ad in front of it too. It has to. Yeah, it does. Here we go. So this is Maria Bartiromo had Trump on. Here we go. No, close the ad.
With me this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm in pajamas covered in Fish Delight crumbs. Maria, you look fantastic. You don't look at all depressed and like your blood is 80% wine at this point. You look, by the way, nice purple suit. To quote Eddie Murphy in The Golden Child, it's a Morris Day feel, and the boots smoking.
Let me start off with getting your overall reaction to the State of the Union last night, Mr. President. What struck you most?
That I know what struck him most. He won't say it. That he's no longer president. That would be the first thing. You know, if you used to be president of the State of the Union, the next time, I think the one thing, how can I just let you walk away? Right?
Well, I thought it was terrible
because I'm no longer president, and here I am in Mar-a-Lago in front of my fake presidential seal. Liz Harrington is having to tweet on my behalf, and Truth Social sucks. It's awful.
He didn't talk inflation. He didn't have any ideas for inflation.
Yes, he did.
And most importantly, he didn't talk about energy with oil.
He didn't? Oh, I'm sorry. I must have dreamed that part.
And what's happened? We were energy independent 1 year ago.
We still are.
Exporting energy for the first time ever in the history of our country.
Because of changes made during the Obama administration, these types of things have a lag.
We were going to double the size this year.
Yes, we were going to double the size this year. Apparently, Biden is short of that. He only released 34% more leases than Trump did, not 50.
Double the size of Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. We would have, number one, the event.
Hold on one second. Trolls, you're welcome. We really don't have a problem, but you can't be bigots. You gotta piss off with that stuff. You have to try at least on some level to just broaden your vocabulary. Learn to be shitty, but with smarter words.
In Ukraine would have never happened if I.
Well, yeah, because you were going to hand it to him. Why would you fight for a birthday gift?
President would have never happened. There was
never. It was never. Because I promised him he'd had to. Who's going to?
No way it was happening. If it did happen, let's say it did happen, we'd be exporting oil to everybody, and that would have kept it from happening in itself. Because
if it happened, we would have kept it from happening after it had happened by exporting oil to everybody. That's how you do it. You just pass it out. What I would do is I would be the Oprah of oil. Okay, Maria, I would get like, you get a barrel, and you get a barrel, and you get a barrel.
Russia wouldn't be making a fortune on oil. So it's crazy what's happened. I look at the numbers; they're the highest numbers in years, many years.
Yeah, since 2014, when we didn't have a pandemic and there wasn't supply shock and there wasn't Russia invading a country.
Oil.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they did. That was around Crimea. That's probably what caused the spike.
So let's talk solutions because.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Maria. Get to the solutions. That's what I want to know. How would you fix this? Well, it never would have happened. Yes, but it is happening. So how would you fix it? Well, I would have fixed it by it never happening. Well, how would you have kept it from happening? By it not happening. Why not?
We know that the Saudis have refused a request by this administration to increase production. Oil is the story. Brent and crude topping $109 a barrel right now. Mr. President,
Yeah, these are even lower than 2015 prices.
Joe Biden immediately reopened the moratorium on oil and the sector and drilling in the U.S.
There is no moratorium on the sector and drilling in the U.S. There isn't one. Let's just get into, beyond the debate about whether or not we need more oil and gas drilling. So let's just be abundantly clear. There isn't one. There hasn't been one. They reviewed the leases that Trump gave out when they came into office because they were concerned that he had done it to feather his nest before he left. And he had. And some of them got kicked to the curb. And he's pissed about that. But a bunch of them that are just standard, we kept them. And still, that's why there's 34% more leases given out last year than there was in the first year of the Trump
What is the solution to getting oil prices low?
Yeah, what's the solution? What is it? What's the solution besides not using oil for consumer commuter cars anymore, which would, be sensible?
Well, of course he should, and I see that Saudi Arabia and also OPEC as a whole, they've rejected every single request that they've made. We're like a bunch of fools. We had energy so low. In fact, I was fighting to keep it up. Do you remember it went down?
Right. Yes, before you filled the national reserves, the strategic national reserves, you talked the price up. Yes, art of the deal.
To numbers that nobody's ever seen before. We got it back up. We got it to $40.
By the way, they're showing this Brent crude thing. Dear God, look at the horror show. Meanwhile, down here, the DAX, the Nikkei's down, the Japanese one. But look at Dow futures down here. Look at that green. All this is stuff that if Trump was in office, they would just throw their arm out, patting themselves on the back.
And that was good. Everybody could make money, and yet at the same time, we were $1.87 at the pump.
When no one was going anywhere?
For gasoline, we never had it so good, and we were doubling.
Yeah, we never had it so good. It was amazing. Gas gets so amazingly cheap if you take 80% of the cars off the road for 2 years. It's incredible how that affects the prices worldwide.
Because of our companies, everything was incredible. And then these guys came along, and I saw that you mentioned border a little while ago.
By the way, look at it also down. Watch down just right below me. Hold on, I'll move myself out of the way a little bit. You can watch this because again, normally feel what you will feel about stocks and whether it's reflective of the economy and all that kind of stuff. But just know that if Trump was in office and these numbers were popping up on screen, they would be telling you that the sun shines out of his ass.
They opened the border. 3 weeks they could have finished the wall. The wall was almost complete, and they could have finished the wall, and we had the strongest border we've ever had. And
yes, thanks, COVID.
It included not only for people getting through illegally, that also included drugs and trafficking, human.
Yes, the best numbers of drugs and human trafficking, just gangbusters amount of drugs and human trafficking.
Trafficking, which is a tremendous problem. We had the best border we've ever had in the history of our country. Now we have the worst, and we have.
Well, it's the wall.
The worst situation in oil that we've ever had. And this is what's causing inflation. If you want to knock inflation or at least take a big chunk out of it, what you do is lower the hell out of your oil prices. And
yeah, you do that. You nationalize the oil like Venezuela, and then you make them cut the price. You force your own oil companies to cut the price in half. That worked out well for Venezuela. It'll work out well for us. By the way, that is what Trump is recommending. Because other than that, this is just garbage. What does that fucking even mean? You drop the price. If you want to beat inflation, you drop the price of your oil. You cut it in half. Yeah. What?
We could do that, but it's going to take a while to start it up. I mean, the problem is with this gentleman, he really destroyed it, and it's going to take a while to do it. We would have been selling to everybody in Europe. We were hitting it, home run after home run after home run, and then it was just ended stupidly.
Yeah, I mean, all of the beginning of COVID was a home run after home run. I lost count of how well we were doing when 40 million small businesses were apparently wiped out forever, and no one was driving anywhere, and we had total lockdowns, and we were going through wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. I lost track of how many wins. Maybe I just got tired of winning and passed out from the anxiety. What about you?
And now,
I mean, if we could only go back to the beautiful times of 2020,
imagine pining for 2020.
They talk the climate, but the climate, we had the best numbers on climate with.
Yes, again, for that, that incredible lack of output from vehicles. The number of vehicles on the road being cut by 80% will do wonders for the breathable air in cities.
The best air numbers, the best water numbers.
The best water numbers. Except for that whole lead pipes thing. Fuck that. We never wanted to fix that anyways. I mean, obviously, Biden's getting that fixed, and that will save innumerable lives over time. But yeah.
Cleanest water, cleanest air in decades.
Instead, Mr. President, the administration is actually increasing its imports from Russia. My guests
did last year, not now.
Earlier in the show said that they expect oil to go to $150 a barrel, even $200 if sanctions are placed on Russian gas.
Yeah, and you know what? No amount of freedom or respect for human life is worth another 80 cents on the gallon temporarily while it happens. You know what I mean? I mean, what the true meaning of America is not fighting for freedom here and abroad. It's really about low prices and convenience. America, the 7-Eleven country.
Should the president put sanctions on the oil sector of Russia?
Here we go. Okay, so this is a good question because that will drive the price up.
Well, we wouldn't have had to do it. We were doing so well, and you're going to have to, but I don't know.
This is Howard Stern asking him about the Iraq War.
He should open it up in the United States, and he should buy no oil whatsoever from Russia. But he should open it up.
Who? What the fuck are you talking about? These are private companies. They're buying it on the open market. If you want a moratorium on American companies buying oil from Russia, say so. But who the fuck is he? What do you think? There's a giant pump at the end of the country?
Take a while. That's the problem. We had it there already. This would have been, our country would have made an absolute fortune, more money than it's ever made on this situation. Now, the situation itself would have never happened, so we wouldn't have had that problem. Right. But we had low energy cost, and it was very abundant. And now they've closed all the leases. They've ended.
No, they haven't. All right. We've done this a bunch of times, and I know I'm going to run out of time before I get to this point because I got to go to a show. But let's see, Biden oil and gas leases. We've done this shit like so many fucking times. Friggin' pay attention. At what point, good Lord, Trump first year, 2,658 leases. Biden first year, 3,557 leases. Oil companies are not acting on some of these leases because they lost money during the pandemic when oil prices cratered, and they are trying to make it back. If you take the low prices and the high prices and you even them out, they are nearly identical what you would pay 2 years together, mashed together the year before in 2019. Like, this is for fuck's sake.
Exploration. They knocked out Anwar in Alaska, which could have been bigger than Saudi Arabia. It was going to be.
Everything's bigger than Saudi Arabia. They're oil and gas poor right now. They've used up all their reserves. This is silly. Saudi Arabia is so 2005 as a conversation about oil and gas. And secondly, could have been, sure. But there's that little thing about water that's kind of important.
Among the biggest sites in the world. Could have been as big or bigger than Saudi Arabia. They knocked it out. It took 50 years of people trying to get it approved. Nobody could. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it approved. I got it approved.
No, you didn't.
Knocked it out in 1 day.
Oh, then you didn't get it approved. Because if somebody can knock it out in 1 day, you obviously did nothing.
Where do you think oil prices are going, and will that have an impact?
So high. They say 150. I'd probably $200-$300 a barrel. I would buy in. This is not a financial
on the broader
advice.
economy. What is your take?
Well, they're going unlimited right now. You can't even project. It could go anything.
Yeah, it could be $1,000 a barrel. $1 trillion a barrel. It's unlimited. Sky's the limit.
Go unlimited. I couldn't believe last night when he said that he was going to continue to buy.
What, to 200? No, Maria, you're not listening. Unlimited. A bazillion, okay? A bazillion dollars a barrel. Oil is the new gold. It just smells funny.
Oh yeah, why? I mean, why not? I mean,
yeah, why not? Yeah. I mean,
you won't be able to get it, and OPEC loves it. They're making a fortune. You know, you say Saudi Arabia, they're making a fortune. Why would they do anything? They have him over a barrel. The only thing he can,
ironically,
do is just say, sorry about it with the climate hoax. Sorry about it. Look, this climate situation is killing our country.
I see. So, yeah, who wants clean air and water? It's ridiculous.
And I know it's politically not correct because people don't understand it.
Yeah, that's why. It's politically incorrect because people don't understand it, not because you're an asshole and you don't know what you're talking about and you don't care.
But I understood it with the best air, the best water, the best everything else, and not
the best everything else. I mean, honestly, I don't know about you guys, but my concierge service during the Trump years was fantastic. And the thing I really liked was the ball cradler. Every time I would leave the house, there was someone sent from the government just carry my testicles as everywhere I went. Just give me a slight lift. You know what I mean? That was one of the best of everything, honestly, because the testicle cradlers during Obama was garbage. They're a bunch of commies, quite frankly. They didn't lotion their hands. They were all calloused. Ew. You know what I mean? But when Trump came in, it was white glove service for your testicles everywhere you went. It was just the best of everything. The best of everything.
Destroying our businesses. This is killing our country. We have China that doesn't partake. We have India that doesn't partake. And we have Russia that don't partake.
Yeah. Why should we have a relationship with someone when everyone else is just sexually assaulting whoever they like? I mean, why don't we just sexually assault them too? Why not? I mean, if they're doing it, why don't? If they're jumping off the cliff of environmental decay, why don't we join in? I mean, don't you want to be the richest person at the end of the world? Isn't that the goal?
None of them partake in cleaning the climate.
In cleaning the climate, yes. None of them are hosing down their forests.
Laugh at us how stupid we are. We clean the climate and then their air flows to us.
Yes, we clean the climate and then their air flows to us. That's how do we work? How do, you know what, yeah. I mean, I think we should turn the wall on the southern border into a giant HEPA filter. But if we did, China wouldn't kick in on it when we had to replace the filter every 6 months.
From Asia, just like all their garbage flows to us through the Pacific Ocean. You ever see what happens in Los Angeles.
Yeah, you ever been to Los Angeles? It's just a constant tidal wave of Chinese plastic.
Hundreds and thousands of tons of China garbage is
But enough about the ports.
floating. The tides bring it right. So we have nice, clean water.
Wow.
And you're not allowed to put your toe in a water.
Wow. That's amazing. You bring that up. Wow. That's fantastic. Wow.
And yet you have 25,000 tons of garbage flowing in from China and other countries in Asia.
25,000 tons. 25,000 tons. Sounds big and small at the same time.
And hitting us on the West Coast.
Yeah, that's what they do. Like, I mean, the surfers, they're not even afraid of sharks anymore. They're afraid of Chinese wind-up toys.
We are so foolish that the whole thing with the climate is just out of control. Unless everybody's going to do it, it makes us non-competitive, and everybody has to.
Right. You realize it's not a competition. All right, I guess he means financially competitive. If they're going to rush ahead and just burn the whole world down, we have to do it too, or we're going to lose our edge.
That includes China and Russia and India and many other countries.
Well, Joe Biden is hoping that China keeps its promises when it comes to climate. And the other day, John Kerry said he hopes that the war in Ukraine doesn't take the focus off of climate for China. Do you think China will keep its promises on?
Do you? John Kerry, who's the climate czar, is more concerned about his job than other stuff because he thinks it's a world-ending issue.
Climate.
Absolutely not, because they don't do that. They see stupid people that they're dealing with, and they just take advantage of it.
But enough about your years in the White House.
You understand what's happening over there. First of all, they're buying the oil from now. They're buying it all from Iran. When I was there, I didn't allow them to buy. They didn't buy anything from Iran because...
I guess he doesn't think anybody's going to check.
We were ready to make a deal with Iran. Iran was in a bad position.
Yeah, it was just 2 weeks away, right after his healthcare plan and his taxes. There was going to be an Iran deal. There was a plan to exit Iraq, the infrastructure week. We were this close. If the election hadn't been rigged, it was rigged. If it hadn't been rigged, 2 weeks later, he could have released it all.
We were ready to make a deal with them. And China understood they can't buy, or we would not do business with them. They made a fortune off our country, although I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs and taxes on China. First time anybody ever took in 10 cents. We took in hundreds of billions. They were not exactly unhappy to see me go with a rigged election. So it was it's really something. When I look at what's happening, our country is like, it's run by fools. When you see that they don't even want to stop, we're paying, think of this, we're fighting Russia, we're watching a Holocaust, we're watching something that I've never seen before, the way that they're going to go in there blowing up buildings with children, with women, with professionals, with...
Yes, amateurs, unemployed, employed, the word is people, human beings, children, women, professionals. Shit, that's basically families, right? The man works, the woman stays home with the children, and gets blown up. What the fuck?
People. Think of just people.
Yes, just people. People. Blowing up people.
Blowing up...
Yeah, maybe call Putin. You guys were like this. Call him up. You had a great relationship. He respected you. Call him and tell him to knock it off. He respects you, right? Anybody? No? And
rockets into these buildings, and everybody's dying. The numbers are far worse than what you're seeing on television. I don't know. They're keeping them down.
Yeah.
Yes, the American media is downplaying the Ukrainian deaths.
See buildings being blown up, and then they say one person died. Give me a break. Many people are dying, and we're allowing this to happen. It would have never happened.
Wait a minute. We're allowing this to happen. Okay, so what does not allowing it to happen mean? Invade? NATO? automatically allow, like, Ukraine is now part of NATO. We're at war with Russia. Ratcheted up DEFCON 4, DEFCON 5. Because again, you have to understand what he's saying is meaningless fap, just talking, except for the fact that he used to be president. And she's asking him strategically what you would do about this.
Should have never happened. Putin never would have done it with me.
Right, because you were going to give him the country.
I tell you that. And very importantly, the energy is really at the bottom of it. He makes so much money. We're paying, think of it, we're fighting him. They're doing a thing that nobody's ever seen on television before.
Yes, nobody's seen stuff like this on television before. That's what makes it bad. I mean, these kind of atrocities, once they hit TV...
Never seen anything like what's happening right now.
Yes, we've never seen anything like tanks rolling down streets and buildings being bombed. I slept through 40 years of my fucking life, apparently. I missed all that Iraq war stuff, Afghanistan. I've never seen, like, an episode of fucking MASH.
You see one person die in an apartment blaze in Brooklyn, New York, and you think it's horrible. Here you have hundreds.
Yes, you do. Because it's not a war zone. It's also terrible.
The building's on fire and people are dying, and we're not doing anything about it. And on top of it...
Yeah, we are. But what's the, we're supplying them with drones, and we're supplying them with aircraft, and we're supplying them with anti-tank missiles, and and anti-aircraft missiles. We are giving them humanitarian aid. We are supplying the borders of NATO countries with humanitarian aid, so when people come over, they have somewhere to go, something to eat, clothes to wear, that kind of. We're doing a shit ton of stuff. We're doing a lot of stuff. What we aren't doing is apparently the one missing step that he's either pretending is an option or genuinely thinks is, which is war with Russia. Automatic NATO entrance, open war. U.S. soldiers on the street. That, if he says we're letting this happen, then not letting it happen means us on the ground fighting.
We're paying them all of this money for their oil. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
We have more oil than they do. Maria, we were going to be bigger than both of them put together.
And by the way, we're not filling the strategic national reserves with Russian oil right now. Companies are buying them. And again, if he wants to insist that multinational oil companies cannot buy and sell crude they refine from Russia, say so.
Yep, Mr. President, as one way of getting back, should Ukraine be admitted to NATO?
Well, look, that's a decision that you're going to have to make. Right now, it would be...
Yeah, Maria, that's up to you.
A lot easier to say yes than it would have been 6 months ago. 6 months ago, you knew Ukraine was on the tip always because Russia's been there for a long time. Do you notice?
Yes, it has been there for a long time. That's true, geographically. I mean, I own a globe.
And everyone's talking about it. Even Chuck Todd the other day mentioned it, which is rather amazing. He said, how come none of this stuff happened during the Trump administration?
Because the expectation is that he would give it to him.
Why didn't they take Ukraine during the Trump administration?
Because they weren't going to have to take it. They were subverting it from the inside. He was the muscle against the current administration. He was threatening them. He was denying them weapons.
And by the way, Taiwan's going to be next. Just watch.
Oh, good.
Taiwan. He's watching. President Xi is watching it.
Well, that's what I want to ask you.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you. The way NATO and all the allied countries are just ignoring the plight of Ukraine, they're probably going to ignore Taiwan as well. He does realize we do have U.S. troops in Taiwan right now. We didn't in Ukraine. We do in Taiwan. We're also sailing around it. It's also detached from the mainland, unlike Ukraine.
I want to ask you about that because a U.S. delegation is visiting Taiwan in a show of support. There are fears mounting of a Chinese invasion in Taiwan.
Yes, there are fears mounting. between me and you in this tiny little space.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
Mm-hmm. She seems like she's upset she's not getting real answers. I was counting on you.
Because they're seeing how stupid the United States is run. They're seeing that our leaders are incompetent, and of course they're going to do it. This is their time. They did nothing on Ukraine. They do nothing. If you remember, I was...
Yes, they do nothing.
The one that got the anti-tank missiles.
He withheld them.
To Ukraine. Obama gave blankets. You remember when I first came in, they said Obama gave nothing. He gave blankets.
Yeah, because there were different people in charge. Yanukovych, by the way, Manafort's buddy, who, Manafort went to work for Trump for free and tried to make his debts with Yanukovych and the Russians whole by manipulating the RNC platform to remove offensive weaponry support for Ukraine from the RNC platform. That guy, yeah, that's why we only gave pillows and blankets and that kind of support. We weren't ready to give them weapons because we were afraid there was so much corruption at that time that if we gave it to them, it would be used on Ukrainians. Like, these assholes want to believe that the clock never moves forward, or that they're either missing pages out of their calendars.
If they didn't have those anti-tank missiles, they wouldn't have any chance. They would have...
Right, we gave them those. You tried to hold them back.
And wiped out...
Yes, Congress ordered those given to them.
Day one. It's very bad now, obviously, but, it's very hard. There's such a difference in size and magnitude, but I'm the one that got all of that. Yeah, I see it happening in Ukraine rather soon because...
Yeah, in Ukraine it's going to happen rather soon. He means Taiwan.
President Xi happens to be a man with a high intelligence level, and he looks at what...
Yes, with a high intelligence level. That's why he set up his green, yellow, red line economic policy around the mortgage industry that has almost single-handedly caused the collapse of the Chinese economy. Because he's a guy with a high IQ.
Happened in Afghanistan, the way we pulled out. Not that we were pulling out, because I was the one that got it down to 2,000 soldiers. But we hadn't had anybody shot in 18 months.
That's because you made a deal with the Taliban to get out by a certain date, and they wouldn't kill anybody until that date. And we pushed it 3 more months because he didn't do any of the homework to get any of the other people out.
One soldier was killed in 18 months. He saw the way that we left Afghanistan, like a surrender, and left $85 billion and death.
Also a lie.
Behind, and left American
$85 billion and death behind.
American citizens there that are still trying to get out, and he sees that, and this is his opportunity.
Yeah, Putin was like, what a sweet time. By the way, in the last 8 days, Russia has lost more soldiers in its invasion in Ukraine than the United States lost in all of Afghanistan and Iraq. In 8 days. Can I let that really settle into your thought form? Can you really grasp that for a moment? Russia has lost more soldiers in 8 days in Ukraine than the U.S. lost in Afghanistan and Iraq put together in 20 years. 8 days.
To do what he wants to do, which is he's wanted to do that, and China's wanted to do that for decades.
Yeah, of course, they've wanted to. Knock yourself out.
Mr. President, let me get your thoughts. I want to come back to Putin, and I want to ask you what his end game is, but let me ask you about Germany, because throughout your presidency...
Yeah, you were like, I held up a napkin and waved it, but now the story is I mailed her a flag.
You kept saying that Germany needs to pay its fair share, NATO members need to pay its fair share. Are you feeling vindicated this week, seeing that Germany is in fact stepping up on its defense spending, and in fact...
That's internal defense spending, that's not NATO defense spending.
...did send weaponry to Ukraine?
Well, I am feeling somewhat vindicated, but they're not doing enough because they never do. You know, they're very good negotiators.
Yeah, Germany had a policy to not provide offensive weaponry for a long time because of World War II made it a little awkward on the world stage.
Said, let the United States do it. Let the United States pay most of the NATO money. Don't forget, there wouldn't be a NATO if I hadn't been president.
Yeah. Thank God he was there to sign the North American, the NATO like charter while he was in office.
I got them to pay $430 billion. When I first went, my first meeting at NATO,
and I was on marching orders from Trump.
I said,
from Putin.
And look, you guys aren't paying. I looked at the chart. They weren't paying. 20 out of the 28 countries were not current. Many were totally delinquent.
Yeah, since 2008.
And I said, if you don't pay, we're not going to defend you.
Yeah, we're not going to actually live up to the treaty if Russia decides to attack. Psst, Russia, knock yourself out. All of Europe's on their heels. Start prepping for an incursion into
I
Ukraine.
took a lot of heat for that. And guess what? Everybody paid. They were all paying. So NATO has the money now, but they're not doing the job they should be doing. I mean, what you have going on in Ukraine is just unbelievable that can happen. And it's almost like they're staying away. Oh, he's going to do other bad things if we go in, if we do anything. Look, this should have never happened.
Jesus, yeah. It's almost like they're worried about him using nukes if we actually get in there, if the NATO countries actually put boots on the ground, and, it should have never happened. Like, what a fucking lazy fallback.
It would have never happened.
Oh, God.
It played right into their hands.
Yes. Yeah, Putin just got a wild hair up his ass last year that he wants Ukraine, and that he views them as one people, and that the land belongs to them. He didn't even feel that during the Trump years. It wasn't like he was planning on it being handed to him if Trump won again, and if he didn't, he's going to have to take it because they're not going to have enough soldiers in 10 years.
And Biden said such weak statements at the beginning that Putin said, oh, wow, this is my time to go.
Such weak statements. He was the only one saying, Putin's going to invade. Get ready. We need to push back against this. You're going to need military aid. You're going to need to protect your people. You're going to have to set up an offensive force. They're coming. The Biden administration was the primary administration, and Biden himself was like, he's already made his mind up. He's coming in. Get ready. Get ready to fight. And by the way, the Ukrainians were like, no, we don't think so. Behind the scenes, they were like, you're absolutely right. But it was carrot and stick.
He said, we will never fight them. We will never do. Whether you're going to fight them or not, you don't go out and say that publicly. You'll never fight them. He said, we'll never fight them. We'll only sanction them.
No. He said, we're not going to put boots on the ground in Ukraine, but we're going to protect every inch of ground of NATO countries. Ukraine's not part of NATO. We will supply them with stuff, but we're not going to put our soldiers on the ground. And if Trump is saying we should have American soldiers in Ukraine right now, then fucking say it. Just say it. Just say it. He won't, because it's obscene. It's insanity. But he's toying with the idea that somehow that would be on the table for him. And it absolutely is not. And remember, this is a guy who ran on getting us out of Afghanistan and never did.
When Putin heard that, he said sanctions. Now, Putin's end game, we'll have to see, because Ukraine's put up a good fight. It's been much tougher on Putin than he thought. I think he felt he was going to just roll in, but they put up a good.
He's just been watching the news. He's just parroting stuff.
Fight. By the way, using the
Russian sock puppets were running the country.
That story. I mean, it's a well-known story.
Yes, it's a story.
Seldom written about. But Ukraine's put up a very, very good fight, far better than most people thought possible.
All right, I'm 3 minutes away. I'm going to put a pause in this because I gotta run to my show, and I have family FaceTime coming up in a few minutes. I'm going to pause right now, and I'm going to pick this interview up later on, probably either late tonight in my show or in the morning show tomorrow. And just sorry about the overlap and the lack of time or whatever, but because of the time change and press this morning and shows tonight, I'm squoze on that. I hope that's okay with you guys. I appreciate it. Most of you, that's about all you can take of his voice anyway. So we're about halfway through. We're at 13:38. I'll pick up from there and we'll finish it tomorrow or later tonight. But I got to go do a show, and I got to go virtually kiss and hug the family as we do every week. So I appreciate you guys being here. Sorry about the abruptness of the show today, but I will, like I said, I will pick up where I left off, and I will see you guys on the other side. Hold on. Let me get me back to my regular screen. There we go. I'll see you guys on either the other side of my show, depending on how wiped out I am, or in the morning, if that's okay. If that's all right with you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for understanding, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. It's HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Support the show in any way you can. And if you can't, then I'm just glad you're here. Including the trolls, by the way. We had a bunch of trolls here today, and I feel bad for you guys because you're in an indefensible situation, and you're defending murder, and it's got to be rough, you know. But hey, everybody's got to make a buck somehow. And we understand, you know, cut and paste ain't what it used to be. And RT getting shut down, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're done. That's tough or whatever. Maybe open an Etsy store with, you know, Trump was right potholders. You'll make a killing at the fading rallies as the number of people dwindles, but the money that they spend goes up. So good luck.